I made it. No, that's my fault. You told me to get on here early. And, I usually think early is like 5 minutes or so. But it was packed. So shout out to everybody.
Yeah, we're so excited that you're here. So excited. So I just want to start by introducing you and just kind of recognizing your accomplishments because they're incredible. And then we'll kind of get into the meat of the call. So welcome everyone. Thank you so much for hanging tight while we got this all under control. But I'm sure you guys all know we have Trent Shelton on our call tonight. Like, how incredible. So I just have to tell you a little bit about this. So I reached out to him like 3 weeks ago. And, it was one of those things where I was like, he's probably not going to even read this, but, I might as well just see what happens. And so sent him a message like, hey, like, it'd be such an honor if you spoke on our team call. And then sure enough, he messaged me back and I was like, total fangirl, like, oh my God, like running around at 11:45 at night. It was ridiculous. But I was so excited because you can just tell he just loves his audience and he really cares about his people. So it's such an honor that you are here. So first off, he's a husband. He's a dad of 2. He's a former NFL wide receiver. He is a huge sought after motivational speaker. He's got a podcast, Straight Up. That's where I first heard him speak, and he's just incredible. He's got 2 books out. Well, 1 book out. One's coming in August. Yeah. So his first book is The Greatest You. Straight Up is coming out in August. So that's super cool. So he's also does he's the founder of a Christian-based nonprofit organization called Rehab Time. So how the call is kind of going to kind of go tonight is, we're obviously all aware that there's a lot of heaviness in the world right now. There's a lot of confusion, a lot of misunderstanding. People want to help, they just don't know how. So he's going to kind of talk about that and talk about what's going on right now, and give us some tips and some insight on where to go, what to do. He said he recorded a podcast today that's going to come out tomorrow. And
Yep.
kind of talking about, what we can do, how we can help, and how we can make a difference. And then he's going to do what he does best. He's going to bring the heat. He's going to really talk about mindset and how important that is. So I'll stop talking because I know we're already like 15 minutes behind. So Trent, thank you again. I'll let you take the floor and I'll mute myself here.
For sure, Cassie, I appreciate you for being on here. I appreciate everybody. And, really, like, it's super tough because some people might be on here. I canceled a lot of calls this week just because obviously what's going on. And what's going on is super difficult. I get emotional to talk about it. I did a bonus podcast episode on Friday, and I'll record one after we get off of here for tomorrow. And, for the first, I wouldn't say first time in my life, but for a long time, I would say I've never really struggled to really articulate how I feel. I haven't really struggled to have the words. And I've just been realizing in these moments, it's just very hard because there's so much. I mean, there's so much underlying stuff. There's so many emotions. There's so much rage. I just went to the protest last night, or the night before last, in my city, Fort Worth, just to be out there to support, both sides. And I saw so much anger, chaos, so much frustration. I saw so much peace. I saw so much lack of caring. I mean, every single emotion. And it ended up in tear gas. We had left by then. And then last night, though, in my city, it ended up in police and protesters taking a knee and hugging each other. And so it just showed you, like, how much change can take place even overnight. And I'm not telling you, I'm not the biggest activist in the world. There's a lot of people probably more qualified than me. I know they are, that dedicate their lives to this. But one thing that I did, when I signed up for Rehab Time and what I do, is I promised myself that no matter what inconvenience, no matter how much fear, how much, confusion, how much doubt, no matter what is in the way, I'm always going to stand up for what's right. And what broke my heart, it was my own video. I recorded a video 4 years ago on the day my daughter was born. I don't know if y'all remember. I forgot who had got killed. I mean, it's this stuff is happening so much, you tend to forget. But in Dallas, a police officer got shot. A man was down and shooting downtown. It was the day my daughter was born. I remember being in the hospital, like literally crying. So I'm like, what is this world coming to? And I made a video and I just challenge people to come together. You know, there's no community without unity. I want y'all to understand that. Like, even the word community has unity in it. And if we can't come together, and oftentimes coming together means putting aside even what you feel is right. Because sometimes what you feel is right might not be right. I think about it like a relationship. You know, I'm sure with you guys with spouses, and you might prove yourself right, but if still there's an argument or there's a bad energy in the room, or, you know, both sides, the man or the woman didn't come together, or whatever relationship you're in didn't come together, then it's still wrong at the end of the day. And so one thing that I know, and I'm challenging everybody on this call, is selfishness cannot create togetherness. And a lot of our views have been given to us. A lot of us are viewing this world through our lenses. And I've tried to like sugarcoat stuff, but I can't. I'm just sorry. So I know some people listening to this, you might be uncomfortable. I hope that you are. I really do. It's uncomfortable for me to talk about it. It's uncomfortable for us to go through this. But I know in being uncomfortable, change can take place. But some of us, we've been in our bubble so much. Okay, we've been in our bubble. We've been in our privilege bubble. We've been in our community, like our safe bubble. We've been in these bubbles, and I had to even look at myself and realize how I've been contributing. Like, what haven't I been doing to bring more unity to this world? And so it's time for everybody on this call and all of us to pop that bubble, because we can't say we care about change. We can't say, because we hear it a lot in personal development. Everybody talks about it. Everybody preaches fearlessness. But you can't operate in fearless. You can't operate in fear and preach it, fearlessness. Everybody preaches, you know, go for it. And a lot of us, I'm sorry, somebody had called me. A lot of us, we preach all these things when it's convenient. And now it's time to actually live those things. It's time to actually operate in compassion, operate in love, operate in selflessness in these moments. And so, you know, I made the video 4 years ago, and what's crazy, what breaks my heart, is that literally I could have took that same video, posted it right now, and nobody would have knew that it was posted in 2016. You know why? Because nothing has really changed. Have we progressed? Absolutely. Have we, you know, I'm seeing more races come together in the protests, and whether you believe in the protests or not, whatever it may be for you. And I want to talk about this too, because I know there's a lot of, you know, let's just talk about race. There's a lot of white people on this call. A lot of personal development is 80% white. A lot of my audience listen to the podcast, whether that, you know, regardless. And so I know a lot of people have hit me up personally, have called me. It's in my inbox. Trent, what do? I don't know what to say. I don't know what, you know, where to go. And my question to you have to be honest with yourself and real with yourself. Only you know. Are you afraid to say why are you afraid to say the wrong thing? Okay. Why are you afraid to speak out? Is it fear of what people in your community or your audience might say? Is it fear of saying the wrong thing to offend someone else? And just to be 100% clear, and guys, I'm just speaking straight from the heart. I didn't map into this house. If I'm all over the place, I'm all over the place. But just to be clear with this, if you're standing up for what's right, and I know this is true, most of America, most of the world, I'm not going to even put America on this, most of the world will say they stand for what's right only if it's right for them. Most of us will say we stand for what's right only if that right benefits us. Most of us only care about the America that benefits us. Like, let's be real. And if I'm not talking to you, if the shoe doesn't fit, I get it. Don't take it out of context. Take it out of context. But if the shoe does fit and you feel offended, discover why you're feeling offended right now. Because the truth hasn't slapped me in my face. I'll even put it like this. I came out with a shirt that was, some of you might know, 3 years ago, a shirt called Colorblind. It was my best-selling shirt, like by far. Black people, white people, brown people, even alligators bought it, right? Everybody bought the shirt. Like, people love this shirt. And when I actually have a spoken word called Colorblind, my very first spoken word. When I put out the message, obviously I put out the message in a way of how I live life. Like, I see color, but what I judge people by is not by the color of their skin, but the character of their heart, right? I care about heart. And as I put out this message, I didn't realize how insensitive I was being, even in thinking that I was putting out a positive message, right? In my heart. It was positive. But I had somebody hit me up, some people hit me up and said, Trent, like, you're telling people not to see color. Is that really the way to go? And I started to think about that. And I haven't sold that shirt in 3 years because I'm willing to sacrifice personal gain for my business. I'm willing to sacrifice all of these things. I'm talking about this shirt sold a lot. Sacrifice all of that because I want to honor people's color. I want to honor everybody. I want to see your color. I want to uplift you in your color. I want to celebrate you in your color. I want to celebrate you in your heritage. I want to celebrate you in your religion, whatever it may be, because that's what you feel. That's what you live. That's what you embody. And I want to acknowledge that. So I did it. Whether people agree with it or not, I took that stance. So you know what? I don't even want to put that shirt out anymore. And I lost a lot and sacrificed a lot. And so I want to just ask the question to everybody on here, like, what are you willing to give up? Because I'm just going to be real. I see a lot of people posting quotes, posting videos, all these things. And listen, those things are necessary. Those things create awareness. There's nothing wrong with that. Don't let anybody make you feel guilty for standing up for the right and you expressing yourself the way you need to express yourself. But I will say this, if you're going to post it, if you're going to post the blackout thing, if you're going to mute yourself, it's bigger than just this week. It is bigger than just the next 2 weeks. I don't know how this is going to play out, but if it follows history, guess what? Social media, once this dies down, people are going to go back to their regular scheduled program. And people are going to go back to living their own life, worrying about their self, and we're going to go back to living a cycle over and over and over again. And we're not going to break the cycle until all of us really take this seriously, really say, you know what could I do in my life to really create change? And I don't know what that is. I don't have the answer for you. Only you do. Maybe it's adding more minorities in your business, right? Look at your business. Look at your life. I had to examine my life. If everybody around you, one thing that I appreciate about myself is that if you've ever been to one of my rehab time events, it's people of all races. Like, it looks like a melting pot. If you see my friends, it's people of all races. And I'm proud of that because that's how I live my life. I'm willing to get outside my bubble. I mean, when I speak on stages, personal development, majority of the audience is 95% white. And I used to feel kind of uncomfortable because I'm not the safe speaker. That's a whole nother story. I'm not the safe guy. I'm not the suit and tie guy. I'm not the guy that talks proper. I'm not that guy, right? I have tattoo sleeves. I have dreads. I have a hat on backwards. And I'm always bringing love to the stage. But at the same time, you have to realize how much of a struggle that was for me in this industry. Because when I first started, and I've never even told this story. When I first started, and I'm just sharing my heart, hopefully, that it appears yours. When I first started in this space, I got so many people tell me, Trent, you're not professional enough. And I know what that meant. I know exactly what that meant. You know, some people might have just meant the professional thing, but I got so many suggestions. You should cut your hair. You should change the way you talk. You should, construct your speech a certain type of way. You should articulate words certain type of way. You should wear a long sleeve. All these suggestions and all these things. And I don't want sympathy points for this at all. Like, I'm not the sympathy guy that gives me sympathy. No, but this is the truth. I went and spoke, and a lot of businesses weren't bringing me in, right? A lot of them were. A lot of companies weren't bringing me in to speak for whatever reason. At that time, I felt, and this is me kind of patting myself on the back. I'm going to do it. Like, I'm the most humble person you ever meet, but I'm going to pat myself on the back right now. I felt like when it came to speakers, I felt like I was up there. I felt like you can put me with anybody on the stage. I don't care who it is. I done spoke with Tony Robbins. I done spoke with the Gary V's. I done spoke with the Rachel Hollises. I done spoke with everybody, right? And I know I can hold my own when it comes to on stage. And a lot of times I wasn't even getting, this is what privilege comes in. Companies wouldn't even bring me in. And the reason was we're going for a different look. We want a different type of speaker. And it wasn't me not being able to give giveaways, because you ever heard me speak, you probably took 10 pages of notes, right? And so I asked the CEO one time, I said, why did you bring me in? And he said, well, it's obvious. Like, you know how to impact people in a way, and it's different. It's not like everybody. You know how to touch people's hearts. And I know what people need. And I was like, that's crazy, because I feel the same way too. But he said, Trent, I'll tell you this. There's a lot of people I know in this industry that might not bring you in because you're not the safe guy. I was like, what does that mean? I'm not the safe guy. And he basically told me that, you know, you're not the suit and tie guy. You're not this. You look a different way. You don't look like the audience. And so oftentimes they're not going to bring you in. And that always set with me. I know situations where literally I have friends in this industry where, you know, they'll go speak at an event and the company will pay them a fee. And then when I ask for my fee, right, it's lowered. And so I'm not trying to place blame on anything. I just want you guys to understand, because I have so many people in my inbox, and we can just being honest, white people in my inbox, right? White women, white men, and they're trying to understand. And so I just want to break it down. I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm just going. And my podcast will definitely articulate this a lot better. But I just want to break this down to you. To everybody that's asking, what could I do? How could I show up? What could I do better? I think we know what to do. I really think we do. In your life, when you don't know what to do, what do you usually do? You sit there and you research and you figure it out. And so if I can give you an easy step process, and this is in anything in life. Number one, it takes understanding. Okay? Understanding. You have to be willing to let down your perspective of life so you can experience the world through someone else's lenses. Okay? You have to open your mind. Closed minds will never create any change, because closed minds think nothing needs to be changed. Pop that privilege bubble, right? And try to live in somebody's shoes. Try to understand that you don't know what you don't know, right? Number two, I would tell you to educate yourself. And I don't want to tell you what to read. One movie I would tell you to watch with your kids maybe is The Hate You Give. That's a great movie. If you've never seen it, a great book to read. But I want you to go experience. I want you to go study. I want you to go down that road because it might be something that touches your heart that I didn't mention. Okay, but you have to educate yourself. It's easier to sympathize with someone's path when you understand the reasons for their journey. So what's going on in the world? You're seeing a lot of protests. You're seeing a lot of rage. You're seeing a lot of anger. You're seeing a lot of looting, even though a lot of the looters ain't the same as protesters. I will say that in a sense. Maybe some are, but a lot of times, I'm not even gonna get into that right now. But a lot of times when it comes to what's going on, what we see on TV, the media, first of all, is always trying to control the narrative. The media knows that fear, knows that panic, knows that burning down things, not showing the good side, will always keep us entertained. And so you have to realize the truth about the situation. But when you understand how people have suffered, when you understand how Black people have been treated unfairly since the beginning of time, and it's not me saying this, I've experienced it, so I can say it, but go do your research. And you see why no justice has been served multiple times, over and over and over and over and over and over again. And there's been peaceful protests. And I know some of y'all might not agree with me with this. And it's not for you guys to, I don't mind if you don't agree. I respect you not agreeing. But I will tell you this, peaceful protest has happened. Let's be real. Colin Kaepernick, whether you agree with what he did or not, like, I'm not saying it was right or wrong. That's a peaceful protest, my people. But what happened? He got blackballed. And me as an athlete, me being in love with the football game, and y'all know my story, I know how much it took for him to do that. For him to put his career, forget the money, but for him to put the love of the game on the line and do that. And the thing that I told people, I don't mind you being outraged by that, because I don't know your experiences of life. But if you're going to be outraged by that, you better damn sure be outraged by somebody putting a knee on somebody's neck and murdering somebody. And I hate to talk with that much passion, but it's needed to say that. Where's the outrage there? And most people are. Not saying that you aren't. Okay? Also, peaceful protest. I can't breathe shirts. Why are you wearing that? So when it gets to the point of now, when you get to the point of we've tried the peaceful protest, nothing has happened. And in 2016, I said, if we don't come together as the community, all races, is going to come to our front doorstep. And that's where it's at right now. So educate yourself. Have the hard conversations. Have a conversation with somebody that's definitely not in your race. If you're white, have a conversation with a Black person. If you're a Black person, have a conversation with a white person. Have a conversation with a person that is even not in your class, right? Because there's a lot of classism that's happening also. And that's a whole nother conversation. But have that conversation. And because when you have that conversation, what happens is you step in their shoes. When you step in their shoes, you feel what they feel, you hear what they hear, you hurt like they hurt, you see what they see. And even if you don't agree with what they're doing, you start to understand it. You start to feel it. Okay, third thing, I know I'm talking a lot today. Third thing is reflect. Okay, after you have conversations, reflect on yourself. I did this. If you can't see yourself, if you can't see yourself contributing to the problem, and I hope the world writes down this quote and it goes everywhere. If you can't see yourself contributing to the problem, you will never understand the power you have to contribute to the solutions. So you might say, Trent, I've been silent. I didn't say anything. I didn't do anything. Maybe the silence is the problem. Or maybe, like I say, you look in your business or you look in your life and say, well, maybe my business has all a certain type of race, or maybe my business, and listen, I understand that too. I understand there's, preference and with people, and there's interest with people. And I'm not saying that your business has to be super diverse. I understand that. But maybe with classism, I challenged people on my Instagram the other day. I was like, especially in the personal development world, if we're saying that we're helping people, and some of y'all not gonna like this. I already got some phone calls from this. But if we're saying that we really are out to help people, why is that at times that our businesses are only for people that can afford it, but it kind of cuts off people that are in our lower class, right? Our events, our courses, all these things, right? And that's a part of classism. That's a part that, and I get it, there's an interest part, and I understand that people they pay attention. The thing that everybody says, and that's not the truth, because 1% of people actually finish courses they pay for. But I want to challenge everybody in here to say, how can I give someone an opportunity? How can I give someone an opportunity that never had that opportunity? How can I speak up for somebody, speak up for the voiceless? How can I give back? And maybe giving back isn't your business. Maybe giving back is going, and be safe, by the way, but going into the inner city and understanding what goes on there. Going to talk to kids. Had a conversation with a group of kids today, and you actually feel what they're going through. You feel how they suffer. You feel it. And even if it makes you uncomfortable, then you realize how it feels at times to be uncomfortable, because some of us don't know. We're oblivious to it. Had a conversation with my friend the other night, and we kind of went back and forth. Wasn't an argument, was a good conversation. He's like, Trent, I don't see racism. I was like, well, you never experienced it, bro. Like, I get it, I understand it, but you never experienced it. So just because you didn't experience it doesn't mean it doesn't exist, because I can tell you multiple stories in my life. And it's crazy how this world works. Literally, he called me last night with tears in his eyes, grown man, or tears in his, I'm sure he had tears in his eyes, but his voice trembling. And he said, Trent, I'm sorry. He said, I just went to the gas station. There was 4 black guys, with everything going on. And I just felt, whether it was true or not, for him saying this, I just felt the tension. I felt them looking at me a certain type of way. And I thought to myself, man, that's how it feels to be uncomfortable in certain situations, right? And so I just challenge you to do something that you've never done, because if you never get into other environments, if you never put yourself in an environment of someone that's different than you, you'll never understand the reason why they act and the reason why they do the things they do. Have the hard conversations with people. The last thing I would say to do is just act. Whatever that looks like for you, I don't know. I can't tell you that. Maybe the actions is, like I said, volunteering. Maybe the actions is, open up your business more. I don't know. You have to decide what that is, but you got to act on what you do. And it's going to take more than just some social media stuff. It's going to take more than just saying, oh, this is my friend, I support him. Like, that's great. But what are you going to do every single day to create change in this world? And when we get to that place where we can literally take steps as a community, as one, and we stand up for each other, we see wrong, we see a bad cop, we stand up against it. I don't care what your political party is, left or right, Democratic or Republican. You say, you know what, that was wrong. You call BS on it, and you stand up. You call out your friends that might be acting racist. I'll call out my friends that might be acting racist, or I might be calling my friends that are judging other people. You tell your kids and you show your kids, to stand up for other people that don't look like them. That's how we'll get to a place where we can actually make change. And just to be honest, like, it takes the majority standing up for the minority right now. And I see a lot of you doing it, and I truly appreciate it. And so, yeah, that's a lot. But yeah, I need to get that on my chest. Maybe tonight was some therapy for me.
Oh my goodness, that was so good. Kind of up to you if you want to take this in another direction, or if you want to like open this up to some questions. I don't want you to be flooded. We have obviously a lot of people on this call.
Whatever you want, whatever questions you may have, they may have. Like, I'm here for you guys. So, whatever it may be, we can stay here. We can talk about whatever. I'm an open book. I'm here to serve.
Someone has a question or wants to ask him anything about everything that's going on, go ahead and unmute yourself and ask.
Can I repeat the quote? I saw somebody's question. Yeah. So the quote is, if you can't see yourself for contributing to the problem, or as contributing to the problem, I don't know if it's proper English, but then you'll never understand the power you have with contributing to the solutions. And I think that's an easy switch to flip. It's like, man, and it doesn't have to be major. You know, I'm not saying that the problem is you're, oppressing people, right? Maybe the problem is just not being aware of certain situations. I had to check myself and say, what could I do better? And I realized I have the power to create a little ripple effect. And a lot of ripple effects will create major changes in this world.
I just had something to say. I don't know if you guys
What's
can
up?
hear me well. So growing up, being born in a different country and then coming here and growing up as a complete lower class minority, I noticed that my parents began to raise me in that way because of who we are, our skin color, and it trickled down to me. And being a mom, and who was also married to somebody else from a different culture, my husband and I, we had this conversation about, like, how are we going to raise our kids to know that there is a world above this? We automatically do not have to just fall into the category of, just because we are minorities, we will grow into this world, being minorities. And so I take this whole situation as a reminder, and like how you continuously say, it's something that we learn from, but as a reminder for us parents to show our kids, especially being minorities, it's like, hey, there's more to it. It's like being stuck. It's like you were always pressured to be stuck where you're at. But if it takes situations like this for you to learn, like, no, there's more to us than what we are and what our skin color is.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. What's your name?
My name is Yashpreet de la Puente.
You say Yash?
Yes.
Awesome. Beautiful name. That's beautiful. And that's a part, of the self-accountability piece, because, and I want to say this, we all stereotype people. We all judge people, even if it's the smallest form of judgment. We all do it. We all don't follow through with our judgment. And sometimes judgments are right. Like, if I see somebody that's creeping up on me with a black hoodie on with a mask, I'm going to think that he about to rob me. I don't care what color you are. So, like, I'm going to judge that. But the thing about it is, everybody on this call that I want to share, it's about breaking the stereotype. I have plenty of stories, and I want to get into my stories. They'll take forever. But one was, it was when I first started speaking. I went to the speaking engagement. I'm very quick with this. Went to the speaking engagement, dressed whatever, had a VIP table, sat down. And literally, there was a woman right there. Like, when you feel somebody just staring at you, like, hard, and you try to, like, play it off and look off. And I was doing that, and I just felt her staring. I was like, why is she staring at me? And she kept staring at me. I get on stage, they introduce me, I speak, do my thing, get back out down. She's still staring at me, but it's a different look. It's almost a look of, like, confusion. And she said, Trent, I want to tell you something. It's like, when you first came here, I prejudged you. I thought that, first of all, why are you sitting at this table? Because I definitely didn't think you were the speaker or anything like that. I definitely think you were the Trent Shelton. I never seen a picture of you that people said was speaking here. I thought that you would look different and dressed different. But she says this: I've never in my life been impacted so much. I've never in my life been impacted so much. And I want to tell you something, that you have literally broken the stereotype for me, because I've had incidents in my life, and this is just real. Some of us have incidents with a certain race, And even with myself growing up, I've had incidences with white people, with Black people, and you hold that, and you sometimes we don't even know it, but we hold those things that get rooted in our heart, and we start to make other people pay for the mistakes that one person made. It's like the cops right now. There's a lot of great cops, but now a lot of great cops are paying for the mistake that one bad cop made. And she said, like, I will never prejudge a person that looks like you again. So I think we have the responsibility to break the stereotype. And so people on here, when you go, if you go volunteer in the inner city, you might get looked at crazy because the experiences they might have had with white people or people that, you know, that aren't in the same class as them, or Black people, whatever you're doing, whatever your race is. And it's your job to make sure that even your uncomfortableness is make sure that when they have an experience with you, that you change their mind, right? You change their perspective on the cover, right? That covers your book. And so they can move forward and be like, you know what? I was wrong about this race. I was wrong about this person. I was wrong about how this person looks. And you change it. So it's our responsibility as people to change the stereotypes that have been placed on our life. But that was great. I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that.
Hi, can I speak for a second?
Absolutely. What's up?
Hi, I know my name is not on there, but my name is Shannon, and I'm based out of Virginia. And so I was having this conversation with my team. And first of all, I just want to thank my team. Two of them, we couldn't get on the call, so I have two of them actually on a Facebook Messenger call, and they're listening as I talk. And I was having this conversation with them, and from the very beginning, you have, this business, Beachbody business, is predominantly white. Let's just go ahead and call it what it is. I love this business. I love my CEO, but the bottom line is it's majority white. And so I was having this conversation with them, and I was they were asking. They have always asked questions. They have always been one to say, ask me how I'm feeling. And I say this, if it wasn't for my team getting me through this, I think I might have punched a wall, because this has been a really hard time. As a mom of a 17-year-old, 6'4" Black boy who walks down the street, and I have to tell him to make sure that he is acting appropriately, doing things the right way. As a teacher of kids of color, I'm a teacher of children of color on purpose. Kids need to know that they have somebody who's been through what they've been through. Kids need to know, parents need to know they have an ally on their side. And so I urge all of you in here, everybody in here on this call, have a conversation with your team, have a conversation with the leaders of your group, have a conversation as many times as you need to. You talk to these people until you're blue in the face, and you tell them how you feel. Like I said, if it wasn't for my team pulling me out of just dealing with everything that's going on, I mean, I was never called a nigger in my life until I stepped foot in the state of North Carolina. And there was a man, he stepped out of a big fucking truck, and he got out of his car, walked over to me as I was pumping gas, and he spat at my feet. He spat at my feet, and he said to me, "Why are you here? Why are you here?" Just the other day, as I was delivering food, I'm a teacher, so I'm on break, and I'm just door dashing to kind of pass the time. And an old man, I delivered his food. He took the food out of my hand, and then he spat at my feet as I was delivering his food. This is the kind of stuff that goes on every day. This is the kind of stuff that I have to say to myself, Shannon, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm a teacher and I need a clear background check, I might have popped off a few times on these people. But you got to just continue to have the conversation. You have to change the narrative. You have to be willing to be put in uncomfortable positions. You have to be vulnerable. You have to understand that people do not know what you are going through unless you open your mouth. And if you do not open your mouth and tell them how you're feeling, I don't care if you're Black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're green, I don't care if you're fucking purple. If you do not open your mouth and say to them, hey, I'm with you, I'm your ally, I'm on your side, I'm with you, we are here. I'm thankful for this call because it's something that we needed to have. after the call that we had with Carl the other day, and a national wake up call, and how he was willing to put himself out there, every single person who says that they bleed Beachbody blue better get it together. Because today we had an incident where a coach had to get kicked out of Beachbody because she participated and said that the people rioting deserved everything that they got. So this is the kind of stuff that we deal with every single day. Every day I walk out and I look like a boy from behind because I'm bald-headed. I've been pulled over by the cops. I've been told that I need to get where I need to be. I've been told all of these things. It's 2020. And sometimes I feel like I'm in 1963. Sometimes I feel like I'm in 1855. The world, we are in a much better place than where we were 100 years ago, where we were 50 years ago. But when history tends to repeat itself, people fall back into these patterns. And when you have a leader, I shall not say his name, but when you have a leader who condones violence like that, people think that it's okay. So make sure that you have a voice of your own.
Hi, can I say something really quick?
Yeah.
Shannon, thank you so much for sharing that story. And I'm so sorry. And Trent.
Sorry.
We love you, Shannon.
Hello, can I say something? It's my girlfriend, Nicole. I'm Nikia. I'm just here watching with her. First of all, Trent, I'd like to say you actually had a real impact on our little family here personally. One of our friends that we've known for 18 years or so, well, Nicole's known her whole life, but I've only known her 18 years anyway. She actually texted me yesterday because of the podcast that you had. And she listened to it and then texted me and asked, what kind of impact or what can she do to be better? She's, just a normal white girl that hasn't, grew up in the country, didn't have the same experience that I've had, obviously, so these things are different. So, I'm not going to sit here and take the, stage from you and what you're doing. All I'm trying to say is that the things that you're doing now are having an impact on people. And it's very important because you can get people to just open up that little bit, just get them to say something, ask something. Everybody's got a Black friend somewhere, right? And they don't know that what their story is or what their experience has been. But you've been giving them the courage to ask a simple question: what can I do to help? And that question is what they can do to help. Just that very little thing is a start to the help. And I just wanted to let you know that there are people here that feel it, that hear you, and they appreciate it. And you keep doing what you're doing because you're going to help, and we're going to get through this with people like you getting this story out, getting your story out, and letting people talk, letting people breathe. I'm sorry to use that term, but letting people get this out. And that helps. That helps everything. And that's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask something?
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. My name's Daniel Strada. I'm a veteran. I served in the 82nd, did my tour, whole nine. What I wanted to ask was, how do I use my platform as a vet to it's kind of hard of a question to ask because I don't want to represent all veterans with everything that I say. And I feel like a lot of people that I know growing up, especially coming back home and everything like that, that's what they know me as. How do I come off as not representing more than just myself? Because that's something that's always been bigger than myself, something that embodies, all races together working as one. And I've seen what it can do. I see how powerful it can be in that community in itself. But I don't want to come off as representing them as a whole, if that makes any sense.
What's the impact you want to leave on this world?
I mean, I want to make it the America that I believe that it can be, the potential that we can do this together. I want to see what it is. And I appreciate you for your service and what you do. And I want to tell you something, like,
you coming from that place of your experiences, you coming from that place of keeping that fire in your heart and making the America that you want to bring, the unity and everybody's for each other, you can do that. And there's certain people, this is the thing that I learned, there's certain people that's going to categorize you regardless. There's certain people that's going to disagree with you. There's certain people that's going to say this or that. And we can't control that, right? We can't control what people say. You know, I did a video the other night and I had 20,000 comments. I had people in my inbox. It was crazy. Like if I screenshot it, y'all would be like, oh my gosh, the things that were said. But I'm not worried about the things that were said. I'm not worried about the people that disagree, because I know what I'm standing for and what I'm fighting for is right. Like facts, right? Bringing people together. So you got to remember that, right? And there's going to be people that maybe tie you to your past, right? People still do that with me. They're like, Trent, do you remember yourself at 25? You know what you was doing? Do you remember this? They try to always tie you to your past, but it's your job to keep showing up, to keep breaking that chain, to keep being that example, to keep being that voice. And over time, the things that once had power over you, maybe like your past, will start to become powerless. So I would just encourage you, man, just to figure out like that impact that you want to leave. And oftentimes I think about when I get old. I say, when I get old, when I'm about to leave this earth, what am I going to regret not doing, right? I don't worry about the things that I'm going to do. What are the things that I'm going to regret not doing, not saying, not standing up for? Because every conversation that I had with an elderly person, my grandmothers, bless their souls, my grandfathers, they always told me, you're going to get to a place in life, you're going to look back and be proud of yourself, or you're going to look back and regret. You're going to look back and say, man, I stayed silent when I should have spoke up. Or you're going to look back and say, you know what? Everybody didn't agree with me, but I stood there and I spoke up. So I would rather live life speaking up, being misunderstood, all these things, than staying silent, right? And not making the world respect my greatness. So go make the world respect your greatness, and everybody's not going to like it, but there's people that need your voice. There's people that need you. And just stand in your truth, man. That's all you got to do. And I promise you, the message of your heart is going to touch the hearts that it's supposed to touch. Right? You're going to touch people. Like, listen to me saying this. Like, listen to me. Everybody on this call, you're going to reach people that I cannot reach. You're going to reach people that whoever, the Beachbody president can't reach. There's people that are assigned to you that need your voice, and they need you to step out into your fear, step out into your doubt, conquer that, conquer your struggle, conquer through it. Do it when you're scared. Do it when you're afraid. And there's people that need it, that need you to step up to benefit off of your life and your message. All right. So I'm proud of you, man. And I can't wait to maybe you hit me up on social media one day. You be like, Trent, I did it. And like, I'm really impacting people's lives, man, because you are impact. Remember that. You have experiences that a lot of people don't have. Share that transparency and vulnerability and give that to the world, bro.
Hi. I wanted to add something as well.
What's up? How you doing? Go ahead. You're muted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, something that I thought about a lot, even saying anything on social media, just because, you know, it does make you uncomfortable. But something that really, and it kept me up all night last night, because like other women on this call have been saying, well, I'm a dreamer. So I am a minority, you know? So when things were happening with, you could say, my people, of course we wanted people to like stand up, speak up, and back you up. So for me, this time, I wanted to do that, and I want to do that. I'm starting to do that for the Black community, because I was in a situation not too long ago where that's what I wanted from everybody else, you know?
Yeah.
And then seeing my own people, as you can say, Hispanics, saying comments like, well, where were y'all when we needed y'all, or things like that, it hurts me because of that reason, because you were in that place. You felt something similar to what the Black community is going through, is why you should speak up. It's why you should stand up with them. And, you know, it's been really bothering me, because my biggest worry being a dreamer had within regards to my family was police pulling over my parents, then sending them off to ICE, them getting deported, but it had never been to them getting killed.
Right.
And that's what the Black community is living. Them actually getting killed, not just separated from their family, actually getting killed. So it does hurt me to see, I guess, my Hispanic Latinos coming out and saying things like that, or even other people. If you're a minority, then you should be the ones that can relate the most to this. Because you, to a certain extent, you can feel the pain y'all are going through. And I had such trouble expressing that out of fear that, like you were saying, your words get used out of context. Or right now, I'm a dreamer. My social media, my husband has petitioned me, is under the view of immigration, you know? Everything I put out there can be used against me. But at the same time, I feel like a hypocrite if I don't speak up. Because I feel and want to speak up to my fellow friends, family members that I have that are African American, you know?
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's just something that's been really weighing heavy on me, seeing that for minorities. And
Well, I thank you for being the example of that. You know, we live in a world where most people, you know, only will do things for people if they get that in return, right? And you have a servant heart, and it's a beautiful heart. I think it shines through, and I think everybody on this call can see that. And I would tell you, you know, it's not always about social media. Social media is a platform, and the world makes social media everything. But I feel like the greatest change that we can make is not on social media. Social media can bring awareness, and I think awareness is necessary. But I think the world is aware. I think the greatest change is offline, right? It's fighting, standing up for this, having the conversations with your family, having the conversations with your friends, even if they don't want to have it. Or it's reaching out, get on a phone call, having a conversation with someone of the Black community, right? And you talking about your experiences, they talking about theirs. And it seems simple, but it's the simple things, right? Brick by brick that build something beautiful. And if we can all get to that space, then we can really make the change. I really believe that. And I don't know, I'm a dreamer too. So maybe I'm dreaming too crazy that this change isn't even possible. Maybe it's a, you know, a system that is not broken, but it's actually meant to go this way. But I refuse to not try. And so social media is one part, but social media isn't everything. And so just continue to use your voice, continue to stand up for what's right. I know it's hard at times, but it's way bigger than the criticism. It's way bigger than anything that can come to your life, because you're actually creating change, not just for now, but for the future and for your kids. So I appreciate you.
Hi,
Hey, Trent, I have a question. Oh, I have a question that I feel like would benefit a lot of people on this call.
What's up?
And I think a few people have already mentioned about being biracial, and it's actually kind of specific to like my younger sister. She's in 9th grade. She's a minority. She's half Black, half Puerto Rican, but she lives in an area where, she grew up in the area where she lives in a Capel. It's a suburban area. She grew up with all white people. She does not feel connected to her Black culture. So like right now, or even when her friends, she told me they've said like racist things in the past, but she kind of brushes it off. So I just wonder how to have a conversation with her to help her understand that she may not feel connected to the Black culture, but she is Black. And if she have those conversations with her friends. And I guess if you have any, like, how I can have that conversation with her to help her understand how to have those conversations with her people, her friends, her group of friends, because she is the only brown person in her girl gang and her friends.
Right. It's, as far as like all our friends, you said Capel?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. So you're in Dallas area?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
got you. So I'm very familiar. I mean, I'm in Fort Worth. So the thing about it is, I know that I haven't experienced that. Obviously, my kids, you know, my wife is Filipino. So my son is Filipino and Black. And so I even with me, you know, I'll share with me, even with me marrying outside of my race, there's times where people don't like that. All right. People have something to say. Even in this, it's like, well, you married outside of your race, so who are you to speak up on anything? I know it's not, everybody's not going to be in this place. And I think it's because I've experienced so much that I don't care what people say to this point, because with my life and who I marry and choose to love, if it bothers you, so be it. I don't really care. But I would tell her she still has to have these conversations. And I know it's hard. So I would tell you to tell her that either she has the conversations and she gets through it, right? What's fear? And it's just fear that's keeping us from having these conversations. And fear is usually, I'm not trying to go into teaching mode, but it's creating a known result from a situation you haven't experienced. So she's creating a negative experience from these conversations. Even if she can say, even if the conversations don't go the way she wants, or the experience doesn't go the way she wants, at least she has that release. At least she's able to communicate. At least she's able to get that off. And everybody's not going to like it. And I know it's hard because Black people might not think she's Black enough. White people think, you know, she's not white, or whatever it may be. It's a difficult place, but she still has to stand in her truth and fight for what's right. Fight for what she believes in, regardless of who likes it, who criticizes, whatever. Fight for what you believe in and stand up for it, because change isn't convenient. It's not. I mean, we can go on the list of people who got killed for standing up for something. Everybody liked Dr. King. You know, there's people who didn't like Dr. King, even Black people at times. And so she has to stand up for what's right, or this thing is really going to control her. And so just have that conversation with her. I mean, you know how to communicate with her. It's your sister. You know what moves her. You know what doesn't move her. And just have that honest and real transparent conversation. Just let her know and remind her that she is enough regardless, right? She's enough. And she can get validation. There's a world full of people that will see that. And if we pay attention to the people who don't like us, the people who criticize us, I know it's a natural thing to do, that will always control our life. Because I'm sure she has plenty of love in the world, but it's the small hate or the small trying to tear her down that she's paying attention to. So the thing I tell my kid, I just as honest, I say, in this world, you're probably gonna be judged as a Black man, regardless. But I said, that doesn't define who you are. Who you are is your heart, who you are is your character, and you walk in that. You represent Black, you represent your Filipino heritage, and I don't care who doesn't like it. So you gotta have that bold confidence. And it's tough to get there, but I believe that she will.
Thank you.
No problem.
Trent, I'm gonna pop on. I wanna respect your time, and I know it's a little past 9 here. So I kind of wanna wrap this up. Thank you all for sharing. I could really feel your guys' emotions. I really appreciate you all bringing awareness here. Trent, I appreciate you so much. I just wanna ask, so your Instagram handle is Trent Shelton, but then the thing below that is it all starts with you. Could you just leave us with that? Like, I love that line so much, because it's all on us, all on you. So I want to just wrap up the call with what you have to say about that.
Absolutely. Well, those 5 words changed my life. Those 5 words are my slogan. Those 5 words are the words I looked in the mirror and told myself. I had an honest conversation, because I lived in blame. I lived in complain. I lived in waiting for somebody to do something for my life. I stayed there. Like, I just waited. I lived in my depression thinking that the world was going to give me something, that the world was going to miraculously change because I wished for change. And those words made me understand this fact. It's okay to risk for change. It's okay to pray for change, but you have to realize if you want change, you have to be the change. You have to be the example. It literally starts with you. It starts in your household, right? We worry about the world, which is okay. But you know what? Sometimes we can't control what goes on in the world. Well, we can control what goes on in our household. And so what are we teaching our kids? What's the environment that we're setting? Thing I love to say is your choices will become your child's consequences. We can't preach world love if we have dysfunction in our own life. And so be the example, because a lot of people are looking to you. You're leaders. Some people say, well, Trent, I don't have the title of a leader. You're a leader. Somebody somewhere at some time is being influenced by you, is being influenced by your action. And so you're either influencing them 3 ways: to do nothing, to hate. We can use it in this time. You're influencing them just to stay the same, or you're influencing them for peace, love, joy. You're influencing them to operate in faith. So everything does start with you. And the question that I want to leave you with is, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do? What's the change that you're going to create? What's the responsibility that you're going to take on? Because if we're waiting for the president, if we're waiting for the next influencer, if you're waiting for me, if you're waiting for whoever, you might be waiting for your whole entire life. You be the one. And stop counting yourself out. I'm sorry I'm going in, but stop counting yourself out. Stop operating your limitations. Stop thinking that you can't do it. Or who am I because I don't have this many followers? Who cares? You can influence people. I started off with 0 followers. Understand that. I started off with 10 people watching my videos, and I was doing backflips because I knew that I don't care if it's 10, 11, now 12 million people, that if I impact one life with my message, with my example, then I can continue to change this world. It's a ripple effect. So what excuses are you giving yourself? All right, it literally starts with you. Stop wishing for change and be the change. Straight up.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much for popping on our call. Obviously, we maxed out. People love you. We love you. Keep being you, doing you. Keep reaching out. Keep spreading your awareness, how we do this. Seriously, thank you so, so much. It's such an honor. This is probably the highlight of my coaching career this far, for sure. So thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, and thank you for everybody who shared and vulnerability. This was excellent. So I'm about to go record. I think we created some change tonight and opened up some minds, and I think this is what it's for. So appreciate you guys. You guys have a beautiful night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
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 Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.